Well, hello there my fellow rushers, how are you doing today? King Rexy here, and today we're gonna be continuing on our hero review series for Kingdom Rush Alliance. Last time we talked about Tyrion, and she was kind of a controversial pick, and yeah, not my personal favorite. And now we're moving on to another interesting and I would say unique hero design, Onagro. So yeah, basically Battle Mecha. We have our own little Battle Mecha in hero form, and if you remember Battle Mecha from Frontiers, you remember how OP this tower was. So how is the hero version of the tower doing? Well, let's talk about it. So, the stats of this mech at level 10 are as follows. 290 HP with whopping 64% armor. So it's very beefy. It can tank a lot of damage, but the problem is, just similar to a flying hero, this hero does not block enemies. So you have to keep that in mind. You don't have any blocking power if you use Onagro, which kinda sucks, but hey, it is what it is. What doesn't suck about him, however, is the ranged attack, because his basic attacks are pretty unique. He shoots 2 rockets per volley, and each one deals between 27 to 41 physical damage. Now, why does a rocket deal physical damage is beyond me. It should have been an explosive damage, but hey, perhaps they're trying to not make him too broken, hence why it deals physical damage, which is understandable. But yeah, he can shoot 2 rockets per volley, and he has 2 seconds attack speed. So even though the attack speed may seem slow, remember you're shooting out multiple projectiles. So you can do a lot of damage. His DPS is definitely one of the highest in the game, which is really nice. What is not nice about him, however, is mobility. This guy lacks so much mobility. He is probably one of the least interactive champions when it comes down to micro, and you'll see why later. But for now, let's talk about the more positive side of Onagro, which is his abilities. Starting off with the Goblin drones. Summons 2 drones that attack enemies for 8 seconds, dealing 10 to 14 physical damage per attack. So 2 drones that deal a total of 20 to 28 physical damage per shot, which is not bad at all. And the cooldown is not too long either, 25 seconds. So it's kinda decent. Or no, I think it's 26 seconds now that I think about it. It's either 25 or 26. I don't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere in there. So it's pretty decent. I would say not the greatest ability he has to offer, but you know, it's a little bit of extra chip damage that you can do here and there. So that's nice. Then we have the Tower Bomb. Throws a bomb that spills the tower on the path, slowing enemies by 50% for 7 seconds. That's not bad at all, because it has a pretty short cooldown. Only whopping 16 seconds. 16 seconds cooldown. And you could utilize this bomb pretty often. Now sure, 50% may not be as high of a number as some people want it to be, but still, 50% AoE slow for 7 seconds can do quite a bit. Especially if you combine them with other artillery towers, that ability synergizes really well with them. Moving on to Power Slam. The mech pounds the ground, briefly stunning and dealing 78 physical damage to all nearby enemies. Yeah, this ability is a bit underwhelming, I would say. Now, you might be thinking, it doesn't seem bad at all, but I don't know, for having 20 seconds cooldown, dealing measly 78 physical damage in an area is kinda meh. But then again, it's one of the very few ways he can stall enemies, so I guess I'll take it. And as far as the stun duration goes, it's pretty short, only 1 second. So it's a very brief stun, and it requires at least 2 enemies to be close to him. So yeah, you can't really waste this ability. You can waste it if you really try to, but for the most part, Power Slam always comes in handy if you're getting overrun. And last but not least, we have a Mind Drop. While standing still, the mech periodically leaves up to 4 explosive mines on the path. Mines explode, dealing 32 to 48 explosive damage each. Now that's some decent amount of damage coming out of a single mine, and when you have 4 of them on the map, it's pretty good. But I do have a few problems with this ability. Now, don't get me wrong, it does spawn pretty often. It only takes 6 seconds for another mine to spawn, so that's nice. And it kinda points out towards his playstyle, while standing still. So you don't want to move this guy around a lot if you want to get a lot of mines. But the problem that I have with the mines is they kind of have the bowling problem where, sure, they do decent damage, don't get me wrong, but the hitbox of the mine is questionable and it doesn't detonate right away when an enemy passes over it. It takes a split second and then it explodes. So if it's a fast moving enemy, they're most likely gonna run over the mine and not take any damage. So yeah, the mine drop is a bit questionable in terms of goodness, but I would say the ability is fine most of the time. But there are a few cases where it feels like the ability is kinda bad. What is not bad, however, is his last ultimate ability, Death from Above. Calls the Goblin Zeppelin that bombards enemies near the targeted area, dealing 64 to 96 true area damage per attack. True area damage per attack. And I believe this thing can shoot up to 6 times. So that's quite OP, don't you think? Just high true area damage in a selected area of the map. But that's the thing, it's a selected area, so depending on where you put the ability, you might get more or less shots. So yeah, you do have to be careful with the positioning of his ultimate. But on the bright side, it doesn't have that long of a cooldown, 45 seconds. Similar to Tarian's Cosmic Prison. In general, his kit is alright, but I'm gonna show you why he is not my personal favorite. Well, so yeah, let's get to the testing and showcase how he looks. Or they look, because it's a mech that is controlled by multiple goblins. And yeah, look pretty cool, right? It's a battle mecha, but evil. And yeah, let's check out. So, 290 HP, 27 to 41 physical damage per basic attack, and 64% armor, or in this case, medium armor. But look at that mobility. Look. Oh my god, he's barely moved. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, his mobility is garbage. Look at how slow he is. He has to be either the second or the first most slowest hero in the game. So yeah, in other words, you don't really want to move him around. Which is kind of sad, because imagine the potential that he could have had if his mobility was just a tad bit faster. But no, we just put him in there. We're gonna create a choke point around him, and we're just gonna watch him decimate everything, because that's kind of how his playstyle works. And Tyrion, I guess you could just stay at the back. Not sure what to really do with you, to be dead honest. Okay, let's get one of those. Up. Okay, let's go. Let's see him in action. Well, once the enemies come to him, because we can't really move him up there. If we move him all the way over there, it's gonna take him forever to come back. So we're just gonna leave him in here. Here's the mine, already one mine. And yeah, it does have a 6-second cooldown, so it happens relatively often. There's the tar bomb, here's his basic attack, as you can see, pew, pew, multiple rockets. But they don't do, even though it looks like they're exploding, they don't really have any splash damage. And if they do, it's very minimal. Here comes the drones, doing a little bit of damage, chipping away at the enemies. And yeah, he's doing pretty well, so far. I mean, Tyrion is helping out just a bit, but barely. There's the stun coming up, and yeah, we're doing pretty solid so far. But then again, that's kind of his whole point of existence. You just keep him at a choke point and let him do his thing, because his DPS is very high. He can also hit flying enemies with his rockets, and they do have a pretty long home range. So even if the enemy somehow manages to escape you, you can still catch him up with a rocket or two. And now let's take a look at his ultimate. We're gonna put it right about here. Oh yeah, there's also the sound effect that comes up every time. So let's count the shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. 6 shots. That's the maximum amount that you can get for the majority of the time, 6 times. So 6 shots to deal 64 to 96 true area damage. That's a lot, isn't it? It sure is. But then again, his ultimate is really strong, I would agree. I'm not saying it's lacking or anything. One thing I would say about him that I hate is just the mobility in general. Like, for me, one of the most fun aspects about Kingdom Rush games is the amount of micro you can do with heroes. But this guy literally says no micro allowed. Because if you try to move him from point A to point B, it's just gonna take him too long. And for the majority of the time, you'll be better off just leaving him at one point and letting him do his own thing. Because, I mean, let's try to move him. Look at how long it takes him to move. 2 enemies have already passed by before he even made it there. So that's kinda sad. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. He's not a bad hero. He's meant to just sit at the choke point, do a lot of damage, and just be basically like a pseudo-artillery. Which is, he does his job pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. He's good. But I can't give him anything higher than 7.5 out of 10. For me, one of the most important aspects of a hero is their micro capability. And this guy just doesn't have it, which is quite unfortunate. Sure, is he a bad hero? No. I would recommend him if that's your playstyle. If you just want a hero that doesn't require a lot of micro, is very simple, and just sits at the choke point dealing a crap ton of damage, then by all means, go ahead and purchase him. I'm sure he's gonna be your type. But yeah, with that out of the way, I think that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future. And while you're at it, drop a like on the video. It means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Until it comes, that was King Rexy, over and out.